Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the June 18th, 2025 business meeting of the Daytona Beach Community Redevelopment Agency, and we're happy to have you with us this evening. Madam Clerk, may we have the roll call?
Commissioner May? Here. Commissioner Cantu?
Here.
Commissioner Henry?
Here.
Commissioner Reed?
Here.
Commissioner Paris?
Here.
Vice Chair Ken Strickland?
Here.
And Derek L. Henry.
Chair Henry will be coming in late, so we ask that you excuse him until he arrives in the meeting.
Make a motion to excuse Mayor Henry.
Second.
We have a first and a second.
Yes.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. We'll now have the invocation led by Commissioner Cantu. Monica.
And the pledge.
By
Monica.
Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity to gather. We thank you, Heavenly Father, for all the blessings you have bestowed upon us. We ask today for your blessings, more blessings. We ask today for peace. We ask today, Heavenly Father, that you will guide us to make good decisions, that you will continue to bless us. These are the blessings that we ask in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we're going to have Senator Wright come up and make a little presentation for us.
And Senator Wright, before you come, we are going to ask for Detective Cody Cassidy and Officer Maury to come up at this time and stand with the senator.
And arrest me?
They may try.
If I can get some good rest out of it, I'll do it.
You do it, yeah. So,
Gentlemen, officers, we're gonna embarrass you in front of all these people. How about that? So I'm proud to recognize Officer Robert Mallory, a dedicated member of the Daytona Beach Police Department and a two-time recipient of the Medal of Valor, one of the highest honors an officer can earn for acts of extraordinary bravery. He's been recognized time and time again, receiving multiple Chiefs Awards and unit commendations for his service and leadership. As a field training officer, Robert plays a key role in shaping the next generation of law enforcement officers, instilling in them the values and the professionalism of integrity and service. He also is a member of the Honor Guard, representing his department with dignity as he honors fallen officers. I think it's right here. His leadership doesn't stop there. He serves on the department's recruiting committee, helping to identify and mentor future officers. Many of you may have seen him on Patrol Live. That would have been fun, right? We're glad you came back. Where he's given the nation a window into the realities of the modern policing, always representing Daytona Beach with professionalism and pride. He also helped lead the community efforts to the for the Two Wheel Tuesdays, building strong and direct relationships with residents in our neighborhoods. Officer Mallory is someone who leads by example, and we are lucky to have him serving our community. Sir, I'm so proud to give you a couple of words tonight. Thank you so much. I know you couldn't make it to Daytona when we did this, so here is your Valor Award from the group.
Thank you.
And also some spending money for you. Yeah, one of my Senate coins.
Hold on, wait. Senator, we're going to have a picture with our photographer.
Okay.
Yep, so.
Should we do
Yep,
Cody
stand right here.
first? Or you want to do one at a time?
One at a time.
Okay. What do you want?
Right there? Just stand right there. You good to go?
Perfect.
Want arresting me or just?
Whatever you want. And in 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Okay. How'd that go? Did you feel good with that? You're next. I'm proud to recognize Detective Cody Cassidy, a dedicated member of the Daytona Beach Police Department and U.S. Marshal Task Force. I'm going to take a side note to tell you that I asked Chief Young why he missed the meeting, and he said because he's arresting somebody today. So, good job. Keep up the good work. Detective Cassidy has played a leading role in some of the region's most high-risk investigations, helping to apprehend violent fugitives, including suspects in homicide and robbery cases. He's received many law enforcement of their highest honors, including the Medal of Valor, Chief's Award, the Medal of Merit, and was named Officer of the Year in 2016. Cody consistently steps into leadership roles, coordinating operations, mentoring young detectives, and guiding multiple agency teams through complex cases with sound judgment. His work has direct and lasting impact on the safety of our neighborhoods, and his bravery in situations like active shooter responses cannot be overstated. What stands out just as much as his ability to connect with the community, so far so good, building trust through professionalism and empathy even though it's tough circumstances. When help is needed, no matter the hour, Cody is always the one to step up first and answer the call for his department and for the community. His courage, commitment, and leadership are exactly what we hope for in every public servant. Sir, it is my honor to meet you tonight.
Senator, if you all would stand over here for a picture.
Vice Chair, I believe Commissioner Paris has something to say as well. She arranged this.
So if y'all just take a picture and then you'll.
Yeah.
Hold on. Could we have both come in with the Senator? Chief, would you like to come up? Commissioner Paris, would you like to go down and take a picture? Yeah. You should- Okay.
Did you read the letter?
Yeah. He's gonna do he's gonna come around there. Yeah.
All right, then.
Get somebody joining in.
Come on.
One more. Sorry, Commissioner Cantu. Just a little bit.
Boy, that hurts, doesn't it?
And 1, 2, 3. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Stay right there. Stay right there.
I just wanted to thank Senator Wright also for taking the time for a very long and extended legislative session to come here to present the awards to these two officers. Senator Wright is our state senator for District 8. He's a true public servant who goes above and beyond in everything he does And that goes for his office too. So shout out to Charlene and Chris. I know you're here today, so thank you. Senator Wright's unwavering commitment, hands-on leadership, and heartfelt dedication to our community, veterans, and first responders make a lasting impact every single day, and we are thankful for him. And I want to thank also Officer Mowry and Detective Cassidy for your unwavering commitment, along with the leadership of Chief Young and the Daytona Beach Police Department in keeping our city residents and visitors safe. And I can't forget Fire Chief Driscoll and the brave men and women of the Daytona Beach Fire Department as well. So thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Senator.
CRAs.
CRAs.
Thank you for supporting CRAs.
Yes.
Somebody in our legislature wanted to stop them. It's like, no. They're a valuable tool.
Thanks, Senator.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Vice Chair, we're going to move on to item number 4, which is approval of the minutes of the May 7th, 2025 meeting of the Community Redevelopment Agency. So moved.
We have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Like sign, there's none. We'll now move on to item number 5, agenda approval. If there are any changes, city manager will read them at this time.
No.
There are no changes for the agenda.
Thank you, Mr.
I move
Manager.
to accept the agenda as printed.
Second.
First and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All against, like sign. Passes. What do we have here?
6-0.
6-0. All right.
Okay, we're going to move on to item number 6, which is our administrative items. Item 6A is Redevelopment Neighborhood Services, approval of a purchase contract for property located at 29 South Ocean Avenue. This is a resolution approving the expenditure of tax increment funds in the amount up to $2,200,000 and closing costs estimated at $15,000 from the Main Street CRA to purchase a vacant parcel of land located at 29 South Ocean Avenue and providing an effective date.
Second.
Questions, comments?
And I do have a speaker. Would you like to take the speaker first, Mr. Chair, or?
Sure.
Okay, our speaker is Mr. John Nicholson.
John Nicholson, 413 North Grandview Avenue. I've been going to the CRA meetings since '85 when it started. The whole idea of the CRAs is to acquire properties so that a developer can come in instead of spending years like Anderson did. It took 19 years to get Ocean Walk in. We're supposed to acquire property. We had an opportunity to acquire this property 10 years ago. One of the residents got all 3 properties for under $2 million, and the city turned it down. The city had an opportunity where Teresa Doan was acquiring property to get a property for $7,000 and turned it down. So we've been turning down properties at the time were dirt cheap, $20,000 for a house off of Main Street, $16,000 for a triplex off of Main Street. I'm asking you at this point, and I know you can sit there and say, oh, but that's way too much money, all right? But at $700,000, we could have had this and 2 hotels. It's going to be 3 times the cost. So when we look at property, I understand we have to take a bid out, but sometimes you have to pay a little bit more at the time to acquire a property to put something on. And we now have about 5 large properties in the Main Street CRA. It's about time to putting some RFPs out and get some development on those. Thank you.
Only speaker on this item. And I
Question.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. So the evaluation was for 2.1 million, and that was based on having boardwalk access, which I don't think it has boardwalk access. I mean, I know it's a vacant lot right next to the boardwalk, and the reconcile value was 1.855 million. So I guess my question is, because I looked up the owner of the property and they have a couple of successful hotels in Daytona Beach Shore. So I'm just curious as to if we spoke to them, if they were interested in doing some public-private partnership with doing hotels on that location while still doing the boardwalk project.
Commissioner, this is just by way of background information. I'm not sure if current redevelopment staff knows this, but the city solicited an RFP for a project at this site, I think around 16 or 17, and the current owner came to the city with a request to build a hotel on that site. But his request would have had the CRA contributing funds toward the construction, and the commission sitting as the CRA denied the award at that time. I don't know if staff has approached them more recently, but there was a formal process.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, City Commission, Angela Armstrong, Project Manager. Before we put the item on the agenda, we had a meeting with the property owner. And because our intention was, if you are a hotel developer, just let's do the partnership and get the hotel on that property. But he said that they are not interested in at this time, so they were going to sell the property anyway. So that's why we decided to purchase the land.
And is there some reason we're giving them more than what it's worth?
It's not, well, the development, they said that they had cost for 2.5 million to do the development on that property. So they were asking 2.5 million and we negotiated for 2.1. And the appraisal is 2.1.
So we're paying 2.2 plus closing costs.
Yes, exactly. They're asking 2.2 and the appraisal is 2.1.
Also, if you recall, the reason that you all supported moving forward to acquire property is because you want the boardwalk to go all the way down to Harvey, as well as the project that we did RFP out for Senior Frogs to go in. So this is a connection that will be needed for that particular development. Also, with what we want to do as a city, if we don't acquire the property, someone else will probably acquire the property. But it's part of the plan that you all put in place many years ago. As Ben says, this goes back to approximately 2015, 16. And so we feel that this connects the Breakers Park all the way to Harvey, and it clears up and allows for us to have access for that entire property to do an RFP for development of that area. And if no one comes in right away, we need to look at how do we also use that property now, potentially for parking or anything of that nature, as well as that. But it is a policy decision. This was part of the discussion when we took out the loan for the funding that you all wanted us to do. And so if we don't acquire the property, it will just take those funds and we will use them in other areas to acquire additional properties in that area.
Thank you. And based on that also, while we find a developer, hotel developer, that property will serve for additional parking for Senior Frogs, which they needed.
Is that it? Ms. May? Anybody else?
Thank you.
I guess we're ready to vote then.
And we did have a first and a second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed.
No.
Okay, 5-1.
Okay. We're going to move on to item 6B. It's a redevelopment and neighborhood services, Fourth Amendment to the Daytona Beach Convention Hotel and Condominiums. This is utility and offsite improvement agreement. This is a resolution. A resolution approving the Fourth Amendment to the Daytona Beach Convention Hotel and Condominiums Utility and Offsite Improvement Agreement between the city, the Community Redevelopment Agency, and Protogroup, Inc., amending Sections 5 of the agreement to redefine the term completion of the project or completed project, authorizing the mayor as the CRA chair and the city clerk to execute the amendment, and providing an effective date.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Chair, I don't have any speakers, but I do have Mr. Rob Merrill here on behalf of the applicant for any questions.
Come on up, Mr. Merrill.
Love to.
Rob Merrill, 1 Daytona Boulevard, Cobb Cole.
Give us a little background on what we're doing here.
This is an amendment to the agreement that has been in place for quite some time. It had two parts to it. One was in conjunction with construction of the Daytona Grand Hotel, the property owner developer extended new water and sewer lines from basically the river to A1A. That was the first piece that entitled them to reimbursement from their utility impact fees that were paid. And that's been done already. The second piece, which is here tonight, is the improvements that they made between A1A and the ocean, in between the two, at the beach approach, essentially, and on either side. If you look at I think the package has an exhibit that shows the geographical extent of it. But that was a public improvement that was done with CRA reimbursement. So we're at a place now where once this second piece, which you guys, I think a couple months ago, approved an amendment to the PD for them to finish the building on the north side, basically a finished building without the tower being constructed. Once that's done, they'll be entitled to the reimbursement in accordance with this agreement that you have in front of you now. Important piece to this is the improvements have been long ago finished. All the things that created the public benefit that's being reimbursed have long been done. And so that's pretty much it.
How much is the reimbursement?
I think, we have, I gave an itemized list to the city, but I think it's in the $1 million area. And so what the part I didn't tell you about.
Rob, when did you give the list to staff?
Yeah, we're just starting to talk about the list.
When did you give the item?
Just right before we walked in.
Okay.
Yeah, because they were asking about that. So we hadn't gotten to that place yet until we had this done, to go through I think we need to go item by item through all the improvements that we're doing to make sure they qualify. So I don't want to nitpick that part of it, but I think that's a staff function. But I would say that the structure of the agreement also included a cap, a limitation, that was based on 50% of the tax increment that was created during that 5-year period of time. So in other words.
This is something I requested, and he just said, can we get like a ballpark?
Yeah, so I think that the ballpark tax limit was in the 3-something billion for that time period total. And so half of that is what they would be allowed to be reimbursed as a cap. And I think they're going to be somewhere 2/3 of that or something. So it meets the qualifications for the cap that was prescribed. We're not changing any of that. That's all part of the agreement. All we're doing is changing the trigger for it, which originally we had said, much like the conversation we had about the PD agreement, we originally had said the project completion, and I think should have said, and Ben, you can weigh in if you like, but I think that the more prudent way to have done this was to say when you finish the improvements that you're getting the credit for, you should be able to get the reimbursement. Instead, we said the project is everything. And so we know that maybe the third piece of this, who knows if it gets built, but we know that the piece that you all agreed that could get done so we have a finished product on the beach on A1A is what I think the objective has been. So I talked to all of you about that some months ago when we went through the PD process. So that is the new trigger for the reimbursement. But as I mentioned, and I think, Ben, again, you can weigh in if you like, but I think probably the better way to have done the agreement, I didn't write it, my firm did, someone else did, is when we got the improvements done. So for instance, when all of the water and sewer lines, which were in the couple of $1 million range, I think, were completed, they were able to be reimbursed through their impact fees that they paid to that extent. In other words, that was the cap for that piece of it. Same thing here. The cap is based on the money we're putting in. But tax increment financing essentially is what it is.
Right. When if we approve this, when will they start working on it, and what's the estimated time before it's completed?
Yeah, so he gave me a note today about that, and what he said was, we pulled the permit, and we're looking to start site work the week after July 4th weekend. And it's going to take, depending with hurricane and weather delays, about 6 months to complete, so pretty soon.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
On the initial project, how many units were supposed to go in the north tower?
I don't remember.
100?
Anybody
200?
have that? 300,
300?
400. John, you know? I don't know, it was 13 years ago. So
And this is when the agreement was made, when we were supposed to have that many?
25 of the hotel there on the north tower.
Yeah. And we
So-
changed it, I think, to change the hotel condo mix on the north tower. Any of that, I'm trying to, where are you going with the money?
The original agreement recited that the plan was to build a 502-room convention hotel
105.
with an additional 105 condo units.
105.
Yeah.
I guess where I'm going with this is that we had the impression that we were going to have 105 condo units with incoming taxes to the city. So I don't know, I wasn't here at that time, but was the agreement made on
No,
taxes that were going to come in?
Yeah, so let me
Because
try.
I don't know if we would
Let me
have
try
said-
to explain it better. So the construction of those condominiums did not create any benefit that the improvements that we're looking for reimbursement was related to. The only thing that, when you're talking about the tax benefit, that we created a ceiling of taxes we're going to pay at 50% to be reimbursed for these improvements we made. The hotel itself covers that and more. So the condominium being built has no relationship to the entitlement to the reimbursement for the improvements that have been made that were to the public, Monica, not to anyone else. And so the benefit of people having condominiums that live on that north tower doesn't relate at all to the benefit to the public of these improvements.
In your opinion?
In my opinion, I guess you could ask the city attorney.
Asking you a question.
Well, I don't know if she did. I mean,
No, I
I
don't think she
invited her
did.
to, but I haven't received the question, so.
Mr. Merrill just made a comment and said that the public benefit had nothing to do with the people that might have purchased condominiums.
Yeah, so the public benefit I was referring to is the improvements that were made
Yeah,
for
so-
the public benefit, not for the benefit.
I'll just
of the
read to you
condominium.
a paraphrase from what the original agreement provided. It provided for reimbursement of sewer and water system improvements that were installed along Oak Ridge Boulevard that were needed for the convention hotel. And in addition to that, it provided for reimbursement for improvements made to the beach access at Oak Ridge Boulevard.
That's what we're talking about tonight.
Right, and as far as those improvements go, those were to facilitate the future growth and encouragement of the convention hotel and the city and Main Street CRA, and to enhance and improve the appearance of Oak Ridge Boulevard pedestrian beach access. So
That's it.
so
I paraphrased it, but
right.
that's,
And the reimbursement was limited to 50% of whatever the ad valorem tax revenue that would be generated from the project. So presumably, if the developer exceeded 50% of what is today the lower limit, because they don't have the North Tower in place, they might have been entitled to more money had the North Tower been built.
right. So
Yeah.
we ran the numbers. The hotel itself is thrown off enough tax that we cover the amount that we
Right.
think we're going to be reimbursed, so.
But at the time of the
It's
agreement-
mathematical,
right.
as you said. It's not discretionary.
If I don't have the numbers, I don't feel comfortable voting on this because it was
Well,
given
so-
last minute.
So let me say, this is not a matter of numbers at
Yeah,
all.
you're not approving the actual
Yeah.
At all.
reimbursement. The agreement is very specific on the measure of the reimbursement, which
Correct.
requires a calculation and some review of receipts. What this amendment would do is as Mr. Merrill mentioned, change the trigger for providing the reimbursement. Instead of requiring the completion of the North Tower, the trigger would be
Completion of the finished building that we're getting ready to
I
construct.
get
Right.
it. The agreement in my mind was made based on having these 105 extra units, which is what the project initially called for. Now the project is changing. So you want us to say that it's okay to change the project even though we're not going to build this, and this is what the initial agreement was made on. So
We can agree to disagree. Ben
Well,
read
I
the
mean,
actual language, so
the-
it didn't mention the condos.
There's no obligation here to amend the agreement. It takes two parties to amend the agreement. It's really just a question of whether you all want to agree to the amendment or not. So,
Yeah, and so I think the most important point is the improvements, which are based on what you just said, for the public, for the benefit of the hotel and the guests of the hotel, are in. They've been in. And if you've seen them, they're nice. And they did a nice job, spent a lot of money on pavers and landscaping and, sidewalks and stuff, and they spent the money. So the agreement all along said, you do that, you get reimbursed through the CRA money. And by the way, it's the money you're giving the CRA capped by 50%. I think it's a fair agreement. I think it's the improvements have been done and the community has benefited from it already. So, Monica, I disagree with what you're saying about the benefit to the community of those
But even the updated
condos.
project is not finished. It hasn't been completed. So
It
you
may
wanna
never
get-
be completed.
Well, that's scary.
No, it's not at all. So we said that, I don't know whether you were here, but when we went through the PD process, we said clearly we have 2 phases. We're hoping that ultimately the market comes to us and people want to live in a condominium on this piece of property. Otherwise, though, there's been a lot of people saying we want something to be finished there. So he's going to spend a lot of money to finish a building there, and it's going to be nice. It's going to have retail, it's going to have some parking, it's going to have some event space, things that I think you guys are going to see are going to enhance the area.
I do want to be clear on one thing, because Mr. Merrill referred to it, but I don't know if it's clearly understood. If this amendment is approved, there would be no payment until the Phase 3A,
Is
I
done.
think it's been now modified, which is the modified version of the improvements to that north site.
Correct. It'll be a
they
finished
would-
building.
There would be a finished building, the elevator tower would be enclosed and wrapped, and there would be, as the agreement refers to, retail, street level retail uses, parking, and an amenity deck. So all
Right,
of
you-
those things would need to be done even with this amendment before there's any payment made.
Correct.
Just to be clear on that.
Yeah, and we presented to you guys what the building looks like, what its architecture and everything else. So you've seen it. That's what needs to be finished before the reimbursement can happen.
Do you have a projected timeline for that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, like I said, he said they should be able to break ground after 4th of July. Takes about 6 months to finish the building. It's all done, we got the permits, it's ready to go.
Mr. Attorney, if we don't approve this, they're not in a position to put something on top of that ugly rebar we've been looking at for a couple of 3 years.
I think that would be a question that would be better directed to Mr. Merrill.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so we plan to build the building. We're going to build the building. Like I said, it should be done 6 months from 4th of July, barring any weather problems. If you say tonight that you don't want to reimburse us, I think we got to rethink this whole thing. I mean, it's a lot of money that these guys have already spent. And if the trigger is never, or it's when you get done building the additional tower, which who knows if the market comes to us or not, we're gonna have to rethink that, I guess. I'm not saying that in a way that I think is negative. I just have to talk to the owners about how they feel about it.
I just would like to see something hiding that ugly rebar that we've been looking at for a few years now. I get questions about it frequently, what's going on with it. I don't want to do anything that hampers moving forward to get that out of our eyesight. If we need to spend a little money on it, I guess we should spend a little money on it because it's been an eyesore for way too long.
I agree with that, and that's what we're doing. So the good news is you're not spending any money. What we're doing is getting a 50% rebate, which was contemplated from the start.
All right. Any more questions, comments? Guess we're ready to vote.
Thanks.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say same sign. No opposition. Are there any comments from the Community Redevelopment Agency members?
Yes, Vice Mayor, I do have some information I just wanted to share with the commission. There were 2 projects that I wanted to see if maybe we could think about. I had spoke with FPL on seeing how we could do underground utilities for US 1 and also A1A on the areas where we don't have it. They gave us a ballpark figure, and also some of the projects are, they qualify for some credits, avoided storm restoration costs, so it would take off from the main cost. So some of these areas are in the redevelopment areas. I just wanted to see if maybe we could get up to par with our sister cities that have already done underground utilities on US 1 and on A1A. I think using CRA funds to go towards infrastructure would significantly help, and now we're in the budget season also. So if it's something that you guys would be interested in, if you want to look it over, and then at the next meeting, maybe we could come back and discuss it again. I just think that it would be a big return on our investment to do underground lighting for both areas.
Any comments?
I actually think this is something we need to sit down and talk about, because a lot of these roads that you're mentioning are state roads. They're not city roads. So like Mason, and you have in here and Bevel Road. Mason, they're in the process of doing phase 1, then the second phase, Bevel Road. I just think there's something we need to sit and talk about, because I even brought it up with the Seabreeze Bridge, and I was told it was a state bridge. So, I mean, that needs painting.
So would we have to ask the state for US 1 and A1A if they would help us with underground utilities?
Yes, but I guarantee you they're going to say no.
I mean, there's something we could look into.
If we were going to discuss this on A1A, I think we should have got in cahoots with FDOT before they started doing what they're doing over there, even though most everybody already doesn't like what we have, but.
Well, this would be from Vermont to Fraser. So the work they're doing is ISB and North, which is already including these underground power lines. So this is just really to extend from Vermont to Fraser, so bordering Daytona Beach shores and a block before ISB, because that area hasn't been attended to.
If I can, presumably if this was going to be pursued, there would need to be some form of agreement between the city and FDOT.
Correct.
South Daytona did pay the tariff rates to underground along US 1 in South Daytona, so presumably there was some process for getting that approved through DOT. And I'm not sure what DOT required offhand, but if you wanted it studied in further detail, then that detail would have to be provided. Same as A1A, I assume.
Well, I just want to share this with everybody. If there's any appetite for it, we could plan 5 years out, do a capital improvement project or something on this, because I think having the underground utilities would look really nice.
I think it's a really good idea to consider it, because if we take a look at Ridgewood, we see a divide between what goes on in Ridgewood as it comes from South Daytona, then we have Daytona, then we have Holly Hill, who made some improvements there. And it's like this big area that seems unattended to. So yeah, something to think about for the future.
Yeah, I agree. With the US 1, definitely we need to discuss it and see what the potentialities are. That's where I would begin before A1A.
Anybody else? All right. We have any comments from city manager? City attorney?
No, sir.
I think Commissioner Paris would like to maybe have a workshop or something, and maybe we can sit down and talk about this more, because I know that DOT has to be involved in all this. Being on the TPO board, I do know DOT is going to have to be involved if we decide to do something like this.
I think those would be the next step.
Correct.
It's not just talking about it up here, but
Correct.
discuss it.
Next year, FDOT is doing the project on US 1, so I don't know if we're in time for something like that.
That's why we
Yeah.
would need to have a workshop, have staff look into it and talk to DOT, and so we can see, and I can actually bring it up as well.
That's all I ask. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right. With that, this concludes this Community Redevelopment Agency meeting.